Snackable Mental Health, snackablementalhealth.ca on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook, and as well as the 89.7 FM website. Today is a big day. We've got our third episode. Here we are with Karen and Brandon W. Hahn, as well as third episode today. And we bring to the table someone who's blazed a path across the GTA and Northumberland County in the culinary world, the bar scene, in music, and just general coolness. Ladies and gentlemen, Ant-Man himself, Paul Rudd.
Yes.
Thank you for
Paul
having
Rudd
me.
is here.
Yeah.
All of the above is true, except we have better than Paul Rudd, and his name is Mr. Jeff Bray, Esquire. And we've brought the man here today to talk a little bit about mental health applies across the board with Snackable Mental Health. We got Karen here, and we're going to talk about right now. I was just like I am so impressed with the longevity of this beard.
Oh,
When did the beard start?
Okay. Well, as soon as it could, I think. So I'm about. I just turned 43. Probably 20 years. Probably right around the time we met.
Wow, you just started growing.
The moment I could, I did.
You just wanted the beard.
Once my face like had it, it was like, oh, that's the face I'd rather have, than the face before the beard.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So once
I loved both.
You're very kind. Yeah.
You've
never had a beard.
I can't grow one.
You can't.
Can't grow a beard.
You must be able to grow something.
Barely grow anything on the stash part. I can grow the Texas tickler. This little part here, that little that piece underneath the lip.
Why do they call it that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I can grow a little bit of a goatee, but I can't grow burns.
I have seen you with that. You're right. I have seen you with that.
A little bit of mess. It's just a mess, and it takes like 3-4 weeks. So.
But you shave every day.
I like
to have
that,
right?
The feeling of it. Yeah.
I hate it.
It's the nice smooth thing.
Yeah, I like the feeling of it on my hands, but not my own face.
Yeah,
to feel your face now would be nice.
You would, yeah. It's smooth. Yeah.
Back to Paul Rudd for a second. I've been revisiting, so I kind of would have loved to have been Paul Rudd, and there's some similarities. Height, probably. Maybe a couple other things.
Generally, height is an issue with doppelgangers. Like, when I hear there's someone I look like, I'm like, hey, that one person's way taller than me.
Yeah, not Paul Rudd. I think
Paul Rudd's short.
I think he's short. I think we're short together.
And the beard, and they have the beard every now and then.
Everything.
And
pretty
you
much
could fit into the Ant-Man costume.
And I could fit into the Ant-Man costume, which I've never seen, but I have been revisiting all those the mid 2000s Paul Rudd movies just in the last few weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
There is one where
some don't hold up.
There's a comedy where he takes care of a physically challenged young man in a wheelchair, and he's like his healthcare aide, and the challenged kid puts him through hell. And so I forget the name of it.
Yeah, me too. But he acts in that one.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
He's an actor in that.
Yeah, not just a funny guy.
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry.
No.
Derailed,
yes. Work ethic, yeah. Once again, we've known each other for 20 years, and I've always known you as a hustler and as a person very into his career, and I knew that started primarily around the Oasis.
Yeah,
was that an early?
I think the Oasis
for you.
It was pretty.
Oasis is an old restaurant in the Coburg area.
Yeah,
that was quite the hot spot for many years.
It was, and I didn't know about it. I was in my 20s, probably 23 or something like that when I actually met. I was working. The restaurants I was familiar with were like Eastside Mario's, and that's where I worked. The chains. We didn't go to many restaurants growing up. And I really wasn't connected to the community at all, growing up. I lived downtown and had no idea what was downtown.
And you walked everywhere.
Yeah, and had no idea of these things. So I met a guy named Troy Howard at the Eastside Mario's, and he was like, "Oh, you should come and work at the Oasis this summer." And it's what he does every summer, and he got me a job there. And
you took over.
Actually, I worked for one summer, and the owners didn't want me back.
Okay.
Yeah. But the owner's son somehow went to bat for me and got me back for another summer. And then I don't know, I probably spent 3 or 4 years there, but they taught me a lot. That was my introduction to caring about things. Like I just didn't know I didn't really have much direction at that point in time. I was working to just make some money.
Yeah.
Didn't go to college.
Fell in love with
I
hospitality.
fell in
eventually.
love with hospitality and saw kind of started seeing what like good food was, and yeah, like I think I found a purpose in service, you know.
Beautiful.
And like some of like I don't have many memories, I should say, of Eastside Mario's or before that the rail side over in Coburg of like, you know, service memories, you know, where I impacted people. But when the Oasis kind of came around, I think I kind of found my groove, and it inspired me to I think, you know, I carried on in that industry for a long time, but more so just like kind of be in service of people.
I wanted to talk briefly, or even ad nauseum, about your history with music. You've rock concerts in basements and garages, and
You could say punk.
punk, yeah, punk's
Yeah.
cool, all right.
Yeah.
And like that's cool, and like I always just remember you guys always being gelled and ready for the next kind of event. Really, any words on punk rock or early music memories for you that stand out?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I was always a big music guy, like from an early age. I have super early memories of just listening to music, listening to Kiss 98.5 down in. I was living in Niagara with my mom at that point. Just like listening to tunes with friends. My cousin, who was a couple years older.
What did you play? You played.
I didn't play anything.
You were a singer.
I wasn't.
You were the front man?
Eventually, I got into playing very poorly, like, you know. But but back in the day, it was just about like listening and loving music. So like, you know, I remember my cousin would show up with like Beastie Boys, License to Ill.
Okay.
And that was like whatever
87.
87.
87.
So I would have been. So let's say that was probably a year or maybe 2 years later, because I would have been 6 at that point in time.
That's great to be that young and listening to Paul Revere.
But I was totally into that stuff, and I moved back up here when I was 11, and like I have so many early music memories, and I was lucky. My cousin was kind of into some good music. But then when I came up here, it wasn't like anything I ever practiced. It wasn't an art form that I knew I could even really do anything with.
Yeah.
I only played hockey really as an extracurricular.
An outlet.
It was a big outlet. I've realized that recently, that more than anything, I think it was an outlet for me. We can get back to that later maybe, but it wasn't until I was 1998, going to school, kind of got some new cool friends who were a little countercultural, and found myself at a Warped Tour in Toronto, and yeah, like it was like, you know, my first proper concert was, you know, let's call it 40 bands who I still listen to today.
Yeah, exactly.
And
mine was Rod Stewart.
Yeah, it's different.
At the Cops Coliseum.
Yeah.
It's a little different than a festival.
But I have a great Rod Stewart story, if I can share it.
You go.
Because you said this could be ad nauseum.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we've still got, we're 8 minutes and 50 seconds in.
Is there a timeline? Is there a
Well, we
deadline?
like to make it snackable, but we can maybe.
You got the wrong guest.
Well, no, we're going to have a whole entire meal out of this one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We've got you, Jeff. You're
Yeah.
staying for a while.
So when I was convincing my mom for my first CD player, we were in Coburg at this point in time. We had moved to a place down the street here on William Street, and it was just her and I, single mom. She had no money, but I was really like I was kind of mean, really. I was a teenage kid. I just wanted stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So I was trying to convince her why she should buy me a CD player. And I was like, oh, well, we can share it. We'll keep it in the kitchen. Like, we'll each have CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point in time, it wasn't like I was just blaring punk music or anything.
It's popular stuff.
It might have been popular stuff. It wasn't so bad. But also, you can get your Rod Stewart CDs. I can get my whatever CDs. And Christmas comes around, and
is it Forever Young?
It wasn't. Well, it was probably on this album.
Infatuation.
But I got my CD player, and my first ever CD that my mom got for me was Rod Stewart.
Aw.
Alive and Unplugged.
Okay.
So it would have had Forever Young on there.
And all the
But
the
I was like,
early
what is
stuff.
this?
Yeah.
She's like, you said you wanted this. And I was like, I don't want this. I said, you could have this. That's what, like, that was the pitch. Like, you could this isn't my first CD ever.
Yeah, some guys have all the luck.
Nicely done. Wow. Yeah, so anyways, that was a Rod Stewart moment. Probably still have that CD. Probably never listened to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Hopefully my mom did. She probably didn't either.
What was your first CD?
Let me think. Probably something U2-ish.
That was mine.
Gross.
Something like that. Nobody likes U2. They just do it because they have to.
Oh, yeah.
What did I do?
I was so disappointed.
What
was
My
that?
chair just gave out on me.
Meow.
I know I need to lose some weight, but
Oh, stop.
okay, I'll.
Give me the tidbits.
Yeah, you know they don't make jelly Timbits anymore.
You know what? When they did, wasn't interested.
Okay.
Sour cream glaze.
Okay.
I think that Tim Hortons has one thing to offer,
What
and
is
it's sour cream glaze.
Okay.
Donuts or
the honey
Timbits.
glaze, the honey
Nope,
dips,
not those.
sour cream glaze. I'll let them know.
Yeah, please do.
I'll call corporate on Monday. So yeah, fatherhood with Jeff Bray.
We skipped over music.
Did we?
We didn't
Yeah,
finish it.
there's a question I'd like to know
Oh,
about.
absolutely.
We're only
That
in
was-
'98 at my story. We're only in
That was
1998.
a cool thing. How did this happen? You are a Juno Judge now.
Oh, I was a
Can we
Juno
talk
Judge.
about that?
Yeah, from concerts and basements to Juno Judge.
That's quite the leap.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, there's no segue there, right? So
No.
Yeah. Okay. So quick. Let's give you
We
a
just-
snackable.
and you're allowed to drop names. It's okay. We can.
You
do
know,
that.
I don't have a name to drop. When I started Cultivate, which is the festival I've been running for 10 years now.
10 years.
Yeah, we just celebrated
Okay.
our 10th year.
Good for you.
I'm very impressed with that, by the way.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
that's one of the reasons I wanted to get into music, because I do know that you've had some pretty key performers at these Cultivate
Well, we
events.
have, yeah, and that's one piece of the puzzle.
Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart was there.
We'll get Rod.
Yeah. There has been a Rod Stewart there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a guy that lives in Port Hope named
Yeah, I
Rod
didn't like
Stewart.
that guy.
You didn't like him?
No, I'm just kidding. I
Okay.
don't know who he is.
Yeah, careful. He's kind of he's Port Hope elite. I think he's been to
I don't
the
know who he
festival.
is.
But oh, you know, there was who's that author that's from the area who died recently, who has
Farley
Farley
Mowat.
no,
Mowat.
no,
No.
not that one.
Oh.
The one who's had some
Brandon Hahn?
no.
No, he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
No.
Famous, just internationally famous author who
Not
lived
Farley
in our
Mowat.
not Farley Mowat, a woman, and recently
Atwood?
no,
Margaret
no,
Atwood
she's
was-
She's
died.
still around. She's
yeah,
okay.
this
She's
lady.
still around.
Oh my God. Anyways, she was there
We're
too.
stumbling over this right now.
Yeah, this is bad. I should have made some notes. I should have known this was coming and made some notes.
Yeah, I should have sent you the
Juno
agenda.
Judge. Juno Judge. I don't know.
I'm still working on my interviewing skills as well. by the
Yeah,
way.
no,
This
that's
is-
clear.
This is
Love it.
I don't know how it became a Juno Judge. Somebody asked me. Somebody
That's
I think
wonderful.
put in. If I were to guess, there was this guy. His name's Derek Andrews, and he runs like a blues society in Toronto.
That's cool.
And
That's
a
very
couple
cool.
other things. And I think he saw that I was putting on some music that wasn't just like, it was more like world music stuff. Like it was a little.
Okay.
I was always like the feeling of big bands and just big fun music, and a lot of that was world music. And I put on a couple of world music bands, and I think he might
I
have
like
had a
that.
role in the Junos.
I
and
love
said,
that your tastes are so varied as well.
yeah, that's I mean, I wasn't always that way, but I've found like beauty
Well, we
in lots
grow,
of different music.
right?
Yeah.
We grow, and we like at our age, we also have so much to draw on if we want to look back at what we never got into.
Alice Munro,
There we go.
that was it.
See, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, she was
Okay.
at the festival,
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
and it's a lot of
I do remember
controversy,
that
but
name.
She
I-
did no
I-
controversy then, so we let her in.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. So, what inspired you to start this festival in the blossoming, beautiful downtown of Port Hope?
Yeah, through those Oasis years, became really, just loved food, lover of the food industry and what food had to offer and how food brought people together, and eventually started my own restaurant downtown Coburg with my buddy Johnny.
And that was Northside Grill.
That was the Northside Grill. And we were really we were doing the local food thing pretty early. There wasn't many people doing it back then. Now everybody says they're doing it, but very few people are actually doing it. But everybody loves to say they're doing it. But we were driving to the farms, picking up the meat. We were very much into it. And for me, it was so new because
I love that.
When I was a kid, I was eating, like I mentioned earlier, we didn't have a lot of money. Like I lived with my mom, and she was a single mom, and we, oftentimes we're relying on the food bank. So we were, she was good at what she did, cooking food out of what she had. I have really fond memories of the food that my mom made for me growing up.
Yeah.
But we were never eating out. We were certainly not eating, lamb chops from Osland Farms, things like that. So when I discovered this,
loose meat sandwiches on Wonder Bread
from Ed's Used Meats,
from Ed's Used Meats
up in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Inside jokes aren't great for podcasts.
Well, we have to explain them. That's the only thing. Ed's Used Meats was a fictitious butcher shop in Baltimore, sponsor of a men's league basketball team.
Yeah,
and we wore Ed's Used Meats T-shirts to our games.
Because you just had me thinking. There
after
was
that,
it
was
meats store.
A used meat store.
Yeah. There wasn't
recycled meat.
We never won a game that year.
No.
But the next year,
I think I came out to 2 games and I was terrible.
Yeah.
So.
You fit in well.
I did.
Yeah. What I loved about this whole local food thing was this bringing together of community and community exchange, and this kind of local economy thing where I used that Osland Farms example.
Nice.
Cindy, who is this lovely lady who I got to know, we kind of inherited some of this local food thing from the north side when we bought it. So I was going out to meet farmers and meat providers right off the bat. It wasn't really inspired by us.
And this is nothing like Gordon's or
of course, and of course we use all that. We use all that stuff as you
stuff you have to do.
But for as much as we could, we were
going to local.
We were using local farmers as much as we could, and then they were coming into our restaurant and sitting and eating. And, you could see the money moving back and forth and staying in a community, and I just loved that, and I wanted. My partner and I at the time were like, we liked to throw parties, from
put a spread on
teenage years of throwing punk shows in my mom's basement. We were in the restaurant industry. It's a party industry. We liked to have parties. So we're like, we should have a party one day to celebrate this. It's such a cool thing, this local food thing. But if we do, we would want music. We want music because food's good, but music is essential. And we kind of just sat on that for years and years and years. And after we actually closed the restaurant, my now wife took me on a date to for my birthday to Oktoberfest, Beau's Oktoberfest up in Van Cleek Hill near Ottawa.
Okay, and I thought the only Oktoberfest really was Kitchener-Waterloo.
There's tons.
You go, they're probably everywhere, and
probably
probably still going on right now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, right now, in fact. This one isn't though. Beau's Oktoberfest isn't, but it was, and it was this really wonderful, just example of what we thought of, and it showed us how we could do it.
Okay.
So we came back being like, we can do this. Let's do this festival. Let's start a thing.
And it became Cultivate.
And it became Cultivate. We made a call to a friend here, Nicole Beatty, who's now town councilor here in Coburg.
Very much reputable.
And she ran and still does run a local food charity. And she was
beautiful.
we support this. Why don't you come in under our umbrella and we'll help you produce it? And so we did, in year one. After a couple months of kind of just thinking it through, got lucky, got one little grant. I forget from where, but we got one and put on this party.
That's a whole thing, right? Looking for
God.
hunting
It is in fact the whole thing.
Hunting down, yeah.
Yeah, it's what I spend most of my time.
Yeah, it is. It's true. Yeah, and it's hard to find valid and real places to go to get funding from.
There are lots of those. There are lots of valid and obvious places to go. We have found that, but it doesn't make it easier.
Yeah,
because they're all oversubscribed, and
for sure.
And we're hopeful that they don't get chipped away at, but it's all very fragile, I'd say.
For me. Okay, we've talked a lot about your mom, and I love hearing those stories. When you bring up food, especially, it goes back to thinking about my mom, and I think we lost our mothers at pretty close to around the same time. Mine will be 5 years in January.
Mine was 11 or 12 just this past Thanksgiving.
It was a little bit longer than okay. So, and then we discussed, and believe me, I've been sharing this as a form of therapy with a lot of my friends, and it's the Dead Moms Club.
The Dead Moms Club.
And I think we invented it, or you might have invented that, and I was very like, yes. But you're a member of it. There's no meetings.
We never met.
There's no meetings,
but here we are.
And there's no book, there's no program or anything, but
isn't that nice?
Here we are, yeah. And I mean that's it. That amount of humor brought to that really helped my my mental health. And losing her was, we bring up the meals and you bring up the holiday time and even especially struggling. My mom and I did struggle there early on, but we had an incredible bond as far as closeness. And the Dead Moms Club kind of brought me around. I've written about it. I haven't really shared too much about it, which I think is primarily it's a visceral thing that you just our parents are supposed to go before we do, and dealing with that, especially with other men, is important. But dealing with it with grace and with humor and subtleties of hugs and things like that. But the Dead Moms Club, and I thank you for being able to talk about that with me without recording it. So.
Well, and thanks for reminding me of it, because I often have, at this point in our lives, our friends lose their moms all the time, right? It's happening. It's happening. And
during that, this part of our lives is textbook that you're supposed to, your parents are gonna you're gonna outlast your parents.
Yeah. So
I have told my kids, my two sons, about the Dead Moms Club, and that they will one day have to join that club. But my one son's like, no, I'll never be a part of that club.
Yeah.
Because you're going to live forever.
Okay.
You never know with modern science.
Well, yeah, robots are next, right? Yeah. Or cyborgs.
What could happen in 40 years?
There's a lot going on.
I mean, I'm not sure I'm interested, but I might be open to 120 or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we embrace the technological age and that resistance is futile, we might be hooked up to machines and
or maybe
it might be really fun. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be great. Yeah.
I could still be doing snackable mental health
we're gonna
on machines.
We're gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off.
Hell yes.
And the wheels haven't even got put up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even see wheels.
Yeah. They are
Fred Flintstone's wheels.
They're driving around with bald feet, being a Beastie Boys lyric. We go back to
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you're better than I expected, actually, Brandon.
What's that?
You're better than I expected. You got you're constantly bringing it back. This is good.
That's nice.
I'm just kidding. I expected you to be good.
It's happening.
The music? Is that what?
Going back to a little bit of the funny, maybe what I learned from Dave Letterman when I was like 8, staying up all night watching David Letterman.
I was a Leno guy, and I remember like I think that it was like I don't know, it was older people because I didn't really know any better because I was young, but it was older people who were like, no, Letterman,
Yeah,
like don't
waste your time.
be
with
one
Leno.
of those, don't be Jay Leno guy.
Yeah, Letterman was.
Who was the one that had Super Dave Osborne?
That was.
That's what I watched.
John Biner on Bizarre,
Oh,
a CTV sketch comedy that happened. I think.
But
it was
you could also just watch. Didn't he just have his own 30-minute show like late night?
He came around he would come on Dave.
He would.
He
Yeah.
was he was big on
Okay.
David
Okay.
Letterman's show. Yeah, and they had fun and Super Dave was always very straight, very very deadpan about his work. Yeah, and his like jumping off the CN Tower. That was incredible.
do that?
He did. Yeah,
He did.
Jumped off the CN. It was a dummy, but
So good.
they
It was
threw
always a
a dummy,
dummy, yeah.
off the observation deck of the CN Tower.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Yeah. So that was
As
and
is
then
Tom
and then
Green.
when he landed, he was like his arms and legs were everywhere,
Yes.
and he would
The end of
say
every skit.
something. Yeah. Or the steamroller rolls over him.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
they bury him up to his head and put shoes beside his ears.
Yes.
Super Dave. I don't know. Is he even still around? Like
He died.
He
I
did
think
die.
he just
yeah.
died this year.
So there's the dead
Yeah.
Super Dave Club now. We talked about Movember. You brought up. I wanted to finish with this one, but I mean, I think we can like go into the young kid, the fatherhood thing.
That.
That we wanted to bring up. Fatherhood, but there also we've got some fart humor. We're gonna try and throw some fart humor in there, and having
excited.
two,
I have
having a
stopped
couple
myself
of
already.
kids, and that
Yeah,
type,
that's what did it. Yeah.
Bathroom humor is a big thing for little kids.
Yeah,
and
them. Yeah, it's them. Yeah,
It's their
they're
fault.
they're leading it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, like, I mean, you cooking spaghetti in your kitchen and floating a rotten air biscuit, and the kids might find some humor in that. I know my wife doesn't really see it as being funny anymore. She's been with me now for almost 16 years. So, yeah.
There's not much she would find
There's-
funny after
no,
that much time.
she knows all of my
Smells?
my everything. Yeah. She laughs sometimes. Jeff, she laughs sometimes.
You can't blame her for that,
No.
right?
I got to come up with some.
You got to get better.
Yeah. It's all about me getting better. So yeah, what do you find? How do you find a balance between work and fatherhood? Is like a kind of a canned question. It's
I
two
find
now,
it to
right?
be like, yeah, I have a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old.
5 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, feel like I get the point of everything, now. When you have a kid, I don't know if everybody feels that way, but I was like, oh, this is what you.
I
this is what you live
would
your life for.
expect fear and.
Oh, there's all that,
Yeah.
But you just like you can't. I've never in my life experienced any kind of the joys that you can experience when you're around your kids, and I mean the frustrations are so in the moment. They're not.
Yes.
They're not at this point. 5 and 7, they're not long term or brutal. They're just like in
Adolescent or
moment.
puberty,
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
that-
who knows where this goes? But yeah, I don't. Both the kids are in school now, and last year, for example, we would take them to school. We live quite close to the school, and they were
Nice.
quite young. They weren't on a bus route or anything like that, so we'd just drive them to school every day. But school starts late, 9:15, and it was all of our effort to get there in time. And then it would end at 3:15 or whatever, so I'd have to be there by 3:00. So I found this this work day being basically 10 to 3, and that's not ideal
That's a lot to fit in for 5 hours.
for getting
In
things
5
done.
hours, yeah.
Back, pre-kids when we first started Cultivate, I would just work. I just work on it, right? I was doing. I've been teaching at Centennial College since we started Cultivate. So right around the same time I started teaching, got
Nice.
out of the restaurant industry, got into teaching, and started this festival. And like it just didn't matter. Just work when you could work. I would work in the evenings. I wasn't tired. In most cases, I'd get a lot of quality work done in the evenings. And nowadays, it isn't that. So what I'm trying to do is figure out how to be, because I don't want to miss taking my kids to the bus or picking them up from the bus, which is what we do now. So now my day is gone. It's now about a 9:15 start to a 3:30 end, so it's slightly longer.
Cool.
But I don't I want to make that
at
work.
Seneca then.
I'm at Centennial.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but so what I want to do is I want to make my work day within that space, right? Like I don't want to have to figure out a babysitter to do after school care. I don't or before school care, right? Like, so I'm just trying to make it work. And I think that something I'm trying to figure out right now is how to become more organized, because I'm not organized naturally. And there's a lot
I'm a huge list maker.
Yeah, and when
I've had
am,
people make fun of me for writing my lists.
Lists are
all
great.
the time.
Yeah, if
my daily list,
whatever works for you, right? And sometimes that works for me when I'm really feeling overwhelmed. It works for me. But
I've got a whiteboard in my office too. I
tried that.
A lot of fun.
I got rid of it. Yeah, I try everything.
I use mine though.
That's amazing.
And I wash it every every Sunday night to prepare for the coming week.
That's awesome. Like, people have systems. My system, I've never found one that really works for me. But what I'm trying to do now is fight through that and become organized so that I can concentrate on work during those times, and then I can be more present in the times where my kids are
I love that part.
Right?
That's great.
Too.
Yeah,
it's not. I haven't figured it out, to be clear. But I'm trying.
There's books on it and things like.
No, yeah.
Like,
I don't need to read another
your
one.
Own book
about
fatherhood.
Well,
by Jeff Bray.
Fatherhood by Jeff Bray. Yeah, you know what? I think I'd like to just do fatherhood by Jeff Bray
instead of telling people
at this point. Yeah,
Such a Paul Rudd answer.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess all this is to say that, like, the children bring all a joy.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah,
and it's
for
better.
Sure.
And work is fun. I'm lucky. I got a the school job is fine. But Cultivate work I'm really proud of, and it's like I mentioned before, like I feel like I'm in service to the community, and I think
I hear you.
There's meaning in it. So I like that work a lot. It's still grant writing and a bunch of other boring stuff. But the kids are where the real joy is, so I gotta, like, wherever I can have more of that. I'm trying to be better at taking more of that.
I love it.
It goes so fast.
So
it does.
That, as far as we brought up flatulence.
We're
gonna end with flatulence.
Okay.
Snackable mental health. I had just. Kids love farts and stories about farts and the sound of farts, and pretend they aren't entertained by the smell of farts. And you did bring that. That was me. That was you. That wasn't me. Just the idea of bathroom humor is across the board, and I think we're going to end with some kind of joke. That I heard you made amendments to the fart Bible. Is that a thing?
Along the way, I guess I've probably made amendments to the fart Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not fully versed in the fart Bible yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still you're not a born again.
The thing about farts is that it's the sound.
It
right?
is. It's 90% sound.
Like, for the kids, it's the sound, right?
Yeah.
And it's and the sound is, to me, it's just funny, right? And I think that, like, here we are, talking about humor. Humor is,
like, all three of us are trying to keep it together right now.
Well, no, but I mean, like, for me, it's funny. It's when I laugh, I feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's I try not to fart in front of my wife.
That's
incredible.
That's a gentlemanly comment.
Yeah,
So
there's like I could do
incredible.
so many better things, right? I'm sure she'd agree.
I'm,
But I try not to do that.
I'm
And
very flatulent, and I kind of like I come from a family, like my father could fart the Hungarian national anthem,
very
and
cool.
my mother had irritable bowel syndrome. So
Right.
my sister had Crohn's disease.
Oh wow!
So there's all that stuff going on. I'm fine. I'm just gassy.
Yeah.
And, it's painful sometimes for me to hold it in. So I'm you
yeah.
know what, why? Like when I go outside to have a smoke, if I'm alone, I will, I usually have one in the chamber.
Let her howl.
I'll do that.
And you can laugh on your own.
I think.
Like I think that there's
that one really stunk.
I think that there's some, it just brings light
I'm
to
sorry.
a room.
This is I thought that would be a beautiful place to end the incredible afternoon we've had of Jeff Bray here. Once again, Jeff Bray is I know he's too humble to admit that he is officially Googleable. But he's done an awful lot of work in the community here, and I know he's going to keep it going. It's hard to believe you're 43. So
Thanks, man.
I see you as
Older or younger?
No, I keep seeing you as this 22-year-old kid that was just that did have a goal and wasn't there yet, and now seeing you prosper and organized and just spearheading so many different things, I'm very happy to call you a friend.
Thanks,
So,
buddy.
yeah.
That's very nice to hear. I appreciate it.
And yeah, so you are a third guest on Snackable Mental Health. So I'm going to end with saying please follow on Spotify. Even if you're not a member, just go on there and maybe give it a listen and follow the podcast of Snackable Mental Health, and maybe go to snackablementalhealth.ca to pick up a t-shirt or a book. New book comes out, next book comes out early next year, and that's about it for today. Take care, guys. Snackable Mental Health.